for joining us on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umoite. Welcome to this special 2023 inauguration. It's the inauguration of the 16th president of the country, and it promises to be a wonderful time on radio. It's a new dawn in Nigeria, a rare privilege as we embrace with open hands the opportunity to keep a pride of place in history. It's the morning of the inauguration day in Nigeria. The date is May 29th, 2023. Today is the end of an era, the beginning of another. The end of an 8-year tenure of President Muhammad Buhari and the start of a fresh 4-year mandate for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Welcome once again to our 2023 inauguration special on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. So we have a 4-hour show lineup for you today, as we intend to keep you abreast with all the minutest details of the historic inauguration. We've also lined up a team of resource persons as guests for the show. But we also have a special guest in the studio. He is a friend of the house. He is our Egbon in this industry. That is our senior in the industry, talking about the journalism profession. We have Dr. Akinriti in the studio. Dr. Akinriti, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much. It's a new day.
I know that it's a beautiful day, and it's going to be a busy day for you too.
Absolutely.
So we really appreciate that you could just stop over in the studio to have one or two words with us before you head for the Eagle Square, I guess.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So you have covered inaugurations in the past. What's special about inauguration?
Well, what is so special about it is that it signifies end of an era, end of a tenure, and the beginning of a new era, a new tenure. And more significantly for Nigeria, we have been having successive civil administration, taking the baton, and this is the 7th year, and we're all having the 16th president of the Republic. And it makes quite significant also in the sense that we'll have a smooth transition. Everything had been extremely arranged, to see that the baton get over to the next person. And so the symbolism of this, you can also see in terms of the attendance of foreign dignitaries that we are going to witness in this inauguration. At the last count, we have about 30 head of states or representatives that have been here, and some are already landing as at now, because we are expecting about over 60 guests. And so it makes it so remarkable again, because God loves this country. And then you can see we have good shower, and then see this good shower, this rain, from what I heard, also it's also raining in Lagos. So you can see that we believe this is going to be a shower of blessings for Nigeria, because we're all looking forward to today, and God has made it so special for us. So let us see how far we can go. What people are really looking at is the expectation is high because of the person coming. Is someone who this has been his life ambition, who has prepared for years for this occasion, and this day has really come unto him. And that's more reason why he's probably saying, look, you guys, don't have any pity for me. Weep not for me, because I called for it and I got it, and I'm really going to deliver. So based on that, we're really going to see how well Bola Tinubu is going to match his words with actions. Well, for quite a lot of people, they are not going to be surprised because of what he did when he took over the reign of Lagos in 1999. There were gamut of challenges that he has to face, and you know what? He was able, to surmount these challenges, and then he was able to look forward to successors that make Lagos, a unique place in Nigeria. And so people are now saying, well, it's a different ballgame, a larger plane than Lagos. But the reality is, Lagos is mini Nigeria. Lagos is a melting pot for Nigeria. Lagos is the commercial capital of Nigeria, the hub of even the West African business. So here we are today. Ahmed Bola Tinubu will be sworn in as the 16th president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay, you've said it all. It's going to be a Herculean task. The expectations are quite high.
Absolutely.
Apart from that, the president-elect, who is going to be the president in the next couple of hours, is going to inherit a highly divided country in terms of the fallout of the election.
Right.
How do you think the president will manage the healing process so as not to be distracted?
Well, I want to give it to him, to Ahmed Bola Tinubu, our president in a few hours, of what he was able to do in Lagos. Because, Lagos is a melting point. And what he have in this cabinet are potpourri of the best of the pack from across the country. So you give that to him, and that's exactly what people are expecting right now. For him to heal the wounds, he must reach out and pick people, the best of the pack across the country. And I don't have any doubt on that, because one crisis that we had in Lagos then was this kind of dichotomy between the Lagosians and the other part of Nigeria. And we're often having series of clashes even between, the Hausas and the Yorubas and, of course, the other tribe. And he was able to douse the tension. So he appointed a commissioner from the east, appointed another commissioner from the north, and blend it with potpourri of people. And I think one of the things that is also going for him today is the fact that he was able to rally around quite a number of people, technocrats, intelligentials. He doesn't want to. That's one thing about him. You just have to deliver for him. If somebody he gives a job, and honestly, he's going to be behind you, and telling you, "Oh boy, you have to do this. You have to do this. Get the work done." And that's more reason why I believe he will surely do that. I don't want to, as I guess, I know his speech today will actually show the direction of that healing process. He has started, obviously, reaching out. But one thing about him, he works so hard at the back end. And what you are going to see at the end of the day, he says, you are going to see that success, that achievement that he will display. And so, for someone that's always, I was a correspondent, I was a reporter when he was a governor in the roundhouse in Lagos. And I see the way he was able to handle, mini Nigeria, and then Lagos being a mini Nigeria, a melting pot of Nigeria, how was able to handle it by ensuring that it doused all the tensions that already were arising then. So for me, I have no doubt that he's either going to push that magic wand again, and then the healing process, I can tell you today, it will start today. Let's wait for the speech, and then we'll see the direction in which Bola Ahmed Tinubu will go. He has no choice, than to unify the country. And for me, surely he will do that. Nobody expecting anything less from him.
Okay, you are a senior editor, and you've been around witnessed successive governments in the past, and you've also been involved in political communication. What do you think will be the best strategy for the incoming president in terms of his political communication? Because that will be very key.
Absolutely. One thing he did in Lagos was to establish Ministry of Information and Strategy. That was the first time we're having that. And because of the strategy of public communication, was able to get across to the people. And he was able to go for the best of the pack among the editors at that time. He was able to pull some of our colleagues, our senior colleagues together, Dele Alake, Shegun Ayobolu, Bamigbeton, Kehinde Bamigbeton, quite a lot of them. Was able to bring them on board. Right. And then those are the people that were not chatting the way in terms of public communication. And then he picked Dele as the Commissioner for Information and Strategy. Shegun Onobulu as Special Advisor in the Ministry of Information and Strategy. Then Kennedy Bangbedon as the chief press secretary. So he has this troll, of the people, and then they were the one doing, guiding him through for most of his public communication. He gave the job to you. I tell you something about him. He will go for the best, and he will expect a good result from you. And he's somebody that also loves the media. He engaged the media at every point in time, and everybody looked forward to an Asiwaju, talking to the media in those days when we were at the Roundhouse, because he has all the arsenal, and by the time he's reading out some of these things for you, it's also a delight to any reporter, journalist at that time. So I don't expect anything less. And you can see today, we also have Bayo Onanuga, even within his media team now, and we often have the likes of the publisher of Blueprint newspapers, Abuja, and quite a lot of them. So he had been able to garner a lot of professionals, media professionals around him. And I will see you are going to see a president that is talking directly to the people this time around. Someone who is always a delight, to newsmen. That is what Tinubu will give for you. In terms of the public, everything will be chatted. I watched a documentary yesterday on NTA, and what President Babangida has to talk about and says about. He said, "Look, this guy is extremely skillful politically, and they want to see how he's going to use that political skills, to navigate through, the troubled waters, the situation that we have on ground today." And for someone like Ibrahim Babangida to have described Tinubu as a political, as a strategist and a highly skillful person, obviously we have to give it to him, because he noted him for quite a long time when he was the head of state then. Tinubu was one of the architects of pro-democracy struggle in those days. And obviously IBB, as Fanny called, surely knows that Tinubu is one of those guys that really gave him a run for his money, a worth for his money. And so to have described him that way, I think he must be able to live to that bidding. And I can assure that he will surely do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Akinreti, for your time. We really appreciate you setting the tone for today's program. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we will also reach out to you in Eagle Square to have an update. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you.
All right. So that's Dr. Akinreti, who is a senior editor with the Voice of Nigeria. Is heading to the Eagle Square, but he had to stop over in our studios to chat with us. It's still the 2023 inauguration special on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umoitie. The program will continue in a moment.
Here we stand as a people, with one song, with one voice, we're a nation undivided and poised. We will take us down and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Citizen FM Abuja. 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 Citizen FM Abuja.
Great nation. Thank you for staying tuned. It's the 2023 inauguration special on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Omoite. Yes, in December 2016, the Nigerian government recorded a video which eventually went viral. The clip had the current Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and some former Nigerian leaders singing for a peaceful Nigeria in the year 2017 then. The former leaders joined Vice President Osinbajo at the presidential villa in Abuja to sing the popular hymn, Our God, Our Help in Ages Past, written by Isaac Watts. The ex-leaders include a former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, who's retired, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former chairman of the interim national government, Ernest Shonekan, former Vice President Alex Ekweme, and former Chief of General Staff, Rear Admiral Ebito Kiwe, retired, and another ex-Chief of General Staff, Lieutenant General Oladipo Diya, also retired. These leaders spoke on the need to have a Nigeria of our dream. Each of them spoke about Nigeria's unity and love for our fatherland, even in trying periods. Today, we go back memory lane to bring back that hymn in the spirit of the season, as we witness the inauguration of a new president today. Let's not forget that Nigeria is all we have, and it behoves on us to make it work. Oh God, I hope in ages past.
We pray to God to continue to grant us that peace and unity that this country dearly deserves.
God created Nigeria as we are, and God doesn't make a mistake. We should thank God for that.
We must continue to work hard to make sure that we achieve the desired results.
In spite of the mess we try to make of the country, He manages always to rescue us when we get to the edge of the precipice, and we thank Him for that.
I am grateful to the Almighty God for accepting and accommodating us despite the mess we've made of ourselves in the country.
We are grateful to the President and the Vice President for thinking it fit to call us together to join in this festival of today.
God has done us a great turn by providing everything that we need to live abundantly, to live prosperously.
Thank you so much. And that was our former presidents, former leaders led by the current Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and former Nigerian leaders, including General Olusegun Obasanjo and the rest of them, sharing that him in the presidential villa. It's still a 2023 inauguration special on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umoite, and our guests, we have our first guests on the line. He's a friend of the house and a very respected resource person. His name is Philemon Doro Ajekuko. Welcome to the program, sir.
Well, very good morning to you, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Ajekuko is an economist, is a chartered stockbroker, media consultant, energy consultant, and author, and so many other things wrapped into one. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Yeah, very much welcome.
Okay, straight up, let's start. There are a lot to talk about the incoming president and even the incoming administration. First, the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised he will put together a strong economic team to hit the ground running. And he acknowledged that the task are daunting. So, and there are many issues: repositioning the economy, the inflation level is skyrocketing, unemployment level is high. How challenging a task will the new president find this economy?
Well, it's going to be very challenging. Almost everybody that understands how the economy works has reached the same diagnosis that it's going to be tough for the president. Part of what you just said is what it is. Inflation in 2015 was 9%. In 2022 is 22.2%. Unemployment in 2015 was 8.2%. In 2022, it is 33%. Poverty level in 2015 was 53%. In 2022, it is 63%. GDP growth rate in 2015 was 6.22%. In 2022, it is 3.10%. You can go on and on and on, including debt. Debt has skyrocketed. Exchange rate has skyrocketed. Human index, we have collapsed from 152 out of 187 to 163 out of 191. Out of school children in 2015 was 10.5%. In 2022, out of school children was 10.5 million. In 2022, it is 20 million. So when you wrap all of this together, it gives you a very clear picture of what the incoming president is going to face. So to a large extent, what is said about bringing together the best of brains, it's not, it shouldn't be a joke. He should do it and do it very seriously, because if he does not do it, signs of failure will begin to emerge within 6 months to a year. And that would be very bad for the country. That is just what it is. And I am hoping that he will stick by his promise to pick the best brains so that we can begin to see how we would re-engineer every sector of the economy in order to move it forward.
Okay, let's take it a step further. Economists believe the Nigerian economy is valued at about maybe $1 trillion in GDP output. But because of the structural challenge over the years, the economy is operating at about 40% of its capacity. How does the new administration put in place the structural reforms to get this economy to its full capacity in practical sense?
Let me tell you something I found recently. I was looking at different reforms done in developing countries and comparing them to that of Nigeria. And one thing that jumped at me is that what is the most important thing in reforms. It is not just the reforms in terms of institutional or institutions, and that has been our focus for the past couple of years. We bring new names, new mantra, new this, new that. That is not what makes the difference. What makes the difference is the human element. The human element. That is where we need reform. By the human element, I mean the mindset of the typical Nigerian who will see that reform come into play, who will execute that reform. So you may do all the planning, do all the naming and all kinds of stuff that we usually do, give it all kinds of high-fly names and all that. But the person who will see that it is done and done properly, what is his mindset? That is where the president should be looking at. So we don't need another, for instance, let me just give this. We don't need another EFCC. Look at the current EFCC and see why is it not working the way it should be working. We don't need another INEC or another INEC chairman. That is not the problem. The problem is how is INEC functioning within the confines of the law? How are the people running INEC functioning within the confines of the electoral law? That is the problem. So the president should not make a mistake of establishing new agencies, new commissions, new this. Like I have seen his manifesto. He's talking about all kinds of things that he wants to establish. I believe that if he goes that route, he will be making a mistake, because it will be like what they say, pouring old wine into new wineskin or something like that. That will not change. Nigeria needs a reorientation. Thank goodness there is the National Orientation Agency, or whatever it is called. That agency is completely dead. But I think this is the time Nigeria needs that kind of agency. An agency that will speak to the hearts of the Nigerian people, that the way we are going, the way we are conducting ourselves is so wrong, and it will never ever get us to where we want to be. That is the challenge before the next person.
Some people also believe that perhaps the bigger challenge for the new president, as far as the economy is concerned, may well be the debt profile, which is very high now. And these people are wondering, how is he going to finance some of those his promises in his manifesto?
Well, if he's not thinking about that already, then he's already setting himself up for failure. The debt profile has spiraled so much, and it's going to get worse, because I hear from what I read yesterday that the National Assembly is expanding the corridor of debt from 5% to 15%. So what that means, because before now, the president can only borrow 5% of the previous year's revenue. Now, for the past couple of years, the current president has done a lot of things illegally by taking much more than is required by the law from the CBN. So the president is trying to correct that at the eve of his end of his administration by raising it from 5% to 15%. Now, what that means, we are just basically telling the CBN to create more money for you, without any value behind it. You just print the money and then use the money to do whatever you want to do until such a time that you get the money back from the revenue. But from what we have seen, we are using up to 80% of our revenue to service debt, and that is pretty alarming. If you are using out of 80% of every naira, that is 80 kobo per naira, you are using it to service debt, meaning that you have just 2 naira to do all other things that you need to do, pay salaries, do infrastructure, or whatever. Now that is scary. So what is going to happen is this. One of the major reasons we've had this reliance on debt is the collapse of our revenue system. Number one is the oil sector. It has been severally said that the stealing in the oil sector is, quoting some sources, at an industrial scale, which means there's a massive theft of our crude oil. Now that is one. Number two, our OPEC quota is around 1.5, 1.6. As at last report, we're barely making a million. In fact, we went under a million in the month of, was the last month, April. We went under a million. So we have that. Then we also have the issue of tax revenue. I hear that the National Assembly is going after the guy at FRS, the head of FRS, for colluding with oil companies and some companies who are dodging taxes. So that creates another level of concern. And you also talk about what is the level of our export, for God's sake. We are not exporting. And we have flogged this issue again and again and again. On the flip side, we are importing everything, both things we need and things we don't need. For a developing country like Nigeria, the emphasis should be importing what we call capital goods. That is, goods that you use to produce other things and add value. So when you start importing chewing gum, you start importing
toothpicks and toothpicks,
picking your teeth, and all kinds of things that we are importing, then we are in trouble. So those are the things that the president-elect or the president to be in a few hours should methodically look at to resolve these issues one after the other in order to pull Nigeria back from where it is heading right now.
Okay, this looks like maybe an overflogged issue, and that's the subsidy question. Over the years, we've been on this and even during the campaigns, virtually all the presidential candidates had one thing or another to say about the issue of subsidy. And even the incoming president, too, have spoken about it. But beyond mere rhetorics, do you think this government will have that political will to address the subsidy question headlong?
Well, I don't know what you mean by addressing it headlong, because you know how passionate I am about this subsidy issue.
I know.
I am passionate about it because we are putting the wrong leg forward. We are putting the wrong leg forward in addressing the issue of subsidy. Subsidy is like inflammation. There is the disease, then there is inflammation. Inflammation tells you where the disease is. Inflammation tells you that you have a problem. What is our problem, Mr. Lawrence? Is it the subsidy that is our problem? The subsidy is not our problem. The subsidy is like inflammation. It's telling you that there's a problem somewhere else in the body of the economy. And that body of the economy is specifically the management of our crude oil resources. That is where the problem is. And specifically the fact that we are having 4 refineries that have been there for years that are not producing anything. Mr. Lawrence, how would it feel like if you come to your station and you do nothing? Citizen FM is not on air. You just go to the studio and sit down, and you are paid, and you collect salaries, and you go on vacation. Do you know how much these refineries have cost us in the past 20 years? I was there in Hilton in May 2007 when the Bureau for Public Enterprises sold these refineries. One of the winners was Dangote. And within weeks, we're talking about 8 weeks or less, the Musa Yar'Adua administration reversed that sale because they felt Obasanjo sold it to his cronies. Now, between then and now, I think the refinery, Port Harcourt refinery and one other was sold for about 500 something, I think $520 something million. Now, between then and refurbishing, turning around, all kinds of words that have not heard before these refineries. Meanwhile, the same Dangote that would deny the opportunity went to Lagos to establish a refinery that cost him close to $19 billion due to escalation of costs. Otherwise, it was initially bid for about $12 billion. In other words, for a $12 billion refinery, we have spent half of that money turning around refineries. For me, that is a criminal offense that nobody seems to be interested in. All they are interested in is how do you remove subsidy. Now, let me also avert your mind to something else. Every developed country of the world uses subsidy as an economic tool. And when I say every developed country, I'm talking about the United Kingdom, I'm talking about the United States, I'm talking about Germany, I'm talking about France. The figures are there. Just go and Google it, you'll find it. They have subsidy on education, they have subsidy on agriculture, they have subsidy on energy, they have all manners of subsidy. These are legitimate tools used to manage the economy in order to prevent social chaos or economic chaos. So for me, yes, it has been generally acknowledged that the subsidy scheme is a scam, and I agree it is a scam because you and I know what happened during Jonathan's period when a committee was set up to look at the issue. And they found out that people were just raking in money. They bring in crude, they take the crude back to the sea and bring it in, petroleum products. They were just moving petroleum products up and down and collecting subsidy. So that is the issue. But there is a glimmer of light with the coming up of Dangote refinery. And let me also put it on record that Nigeria has 20% in that refinery. So we are stakeholders. Now, if Dangote refinery come on stream, the issue of subsidy will die a natural death. That is its period. Because the products are refined locally. The price, more or less, will reflect local prices because petroleum products are not priced internationally. It is crude that is priced internationally. And the man buys his crude from Nigeria anyway, and he refines it locally. So the price will not be as scary as it could be when subsidy is removed. So that I believe, if I were in the shoes of the incoming president, I will manage the situation into operation, the coming on stream of Dangote refinery in order to avoid it. Because no matter how bad you look at it, the fact that people are able to get petrol at maybe 100 or something, 200, 250 today, because of the subsidy element, is still a savior to the situation. By the time you remove the subsidy and there is no net, no safety net anywhere, and you start buying petrol for say like 500 or 600, as worst case scenario, you start buying for like 800, 900 like diesel. Inflation is at 33%. What do you think will happen? I'm asking you.
That's scary.
It is scary. What do you think will happen to unemployment? Because if I am a producer and I'm hit with that kind of price, I will let some people go. It's not a charity thing. So what do you think that would do to the employment market? It will explode. That is the danger people are not addressing when they open their mouths and say, take subsidy away, take subsidy, blah, 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 blah. They are not thinking about the social and economic consequence that will hit us. So, finally on that, the issue of subsidy is now a legal issue because of the passing of the PIA. The PIA actually makes it mandatory for the subsidy to be removed. And going by the terms and conditions of the PIA, this should have been done last year, beginning of last year. at the passing of the PIA. It was because of the expected consequence that this administration put it on hold and has moved it, shifted to the table of the incoming president. And if the incoming president does not use wisdom to manage the situation, if it disrupts the society, disrupts the economy, disrupts social cohesiveness at the beginning of his regime, then you have something on his table. You remember what happened in 2012 when Jonathan tried it while people were at home, enjoying their holiday. You remember what happened?
All right.
So that is just my take on the subsidy issue.
All right. Thank you so much, Philemon Ajekuko. Thank you so much for your interventions on our inauguration special. We really appreciate it. It's always a delight listening to you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for everything. Bye-bye.
All right. Okay. The program continues. It's the 2023 inauguration special. From the stable of Citizen FM 93.7. That was our first guest, Philemon Ajekuko, who is an economist and a chartered stockbroker, giving us his take on the economy. The program returns in a moment. Please don't go away.
We shall be at the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun when we